I'm looking for the live thing, Matt. So I'm going to you tell me we're all set now. hmm Well, good afternoon, everyone. I think we're about about a minute and a half early. That's kind of rare for me. So I appreciate Matt making the time. We're spending a little bit of time today on Chat with Their Chief session, talking about some different things in the department, bringing you up to speed on where we're at, where the city stands currently with crime data. A couple of events that have happened last week, and then some events that we have going forward. But I'm going to spend a significant amount of time today to talk to you about a new program. We touched on it a little bit our last session last month, but we're going to talk about drones as a first responder and how that technology is going to be used in our city, how it's not going to be used in our city, and what we're doing to be very, very open and transparent really towards the end of last month and all of this month as we move forward for that program this summer. So first of all, what I'm going to ask, if anyone is logged on yet, just to make sure we're good, is to let me know if visually pictures coming across okay and audioly that you can hear what we're saying. And sometimes people will say, well, we hear like a buzzing noise or we hear like a fan in the background. I just want to make sure that we're coming across okay. This is our the chief session for the month of May. We'll be we do this each month. Aubrey, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. I always worry that there's like I messed something up. So thank you for that. It means a lot. So we do these each month, and I will do that. We'll talk today from 12 to 1, and then I'll be back this evening from 6 to 7. Is that right, Matt? So Matt's here with me this afternoon. And Matt, is it me and you tonight, or me and Kelly tonight? And me and Kelly this evening. So that's perfect. So what we'll do is I will share a couple things going on here recently, some things we have upcoming, and then I will spend a little bit of time today talking about our drone as a first responder and what we're doing to be open and transparent about that, not just through technology, but also through face-to-face conversations and meetings that we've had. I appreciate individuals taking the time to sit down here with me today and just share. It's been an interesting week this week. Some exciting news. We've gone through a couple promotional processes. We'll touch base about that. We've selected and promoted a new captain. We've promoted a new lieutenant, and then all that trickles down. So I'm just excited. We've got actually some interviews going on today. I'll get the results of those this afternoon. Then I'll sit down with the chiefs, and we're going to make some decisions for new promotions that will take place June 1st, that first week of June. And then I just inked a deal with the supervisory leadership school that we'll put on for 2 days. I think it's very, very important also in the month of June. So I'm excited about that. I was just working that deal out before I came in here. So what I'd like to start out with is just give the city an update on where we are, where the city is together in crime. And before I do that, I'm going to talk about a couple data points. But before I do that, I always want the disclaimer is that those points are not just numbers and statistics. They're people, right? Those are individuals in our community. They're our loved ones, our family members, and I don't lose track of that. But I also want to measure where we're at, because I want to see if the strategies that we're using is decreasing the amount of incidents that we're seeing, or are we kind of plateaued and we need to rethink, do something different to drive numbers down, or are the numbers not working and we've got to come back and change. So I do look at data. I get data every Monday and every Thursday, and we go over it for hours in each precinct and citywide. I have those conversations with the Commonwealth Attorney, Ms. Jones, our city management, Mr. Alan Archer, and Assistant City Manager Bo Clayton. And I also share that information with Deputy City Manager Sabrina Hogg, and again, of course, with our mayor. And I had conversations with him yesterday and again today just about things in our city. So I like people being on the same page and just having information, right? So and I think it's important to be open and transparent. So what I start out with today is where we are on violent crime. If you remember last year, we had a record low number in homicides and a record low number in non-fatal shootings. So since 2023, we went down in 2023, 2024, 2025, and here in 2026, in some major categories where we were last year or lower. So violent crime in our city is down 5%. We'll talk about this more when we have our public safety meeting with Councilman Tina Vick and Councilman Rob Coleman. But we are down in violent crime 5%. This time last year, we had 22 non-fatal shootings, shot in the arm, the leg. We currently sit at 12. Of those 12, over 50% are cleared by an arrest. That's unheard of. That's just unheard of. Our friends at VCU have done some studies for us, and if you're closing 30%, making arrests, closing 30% of your non-fatal shootings, you're in the top 5% in the country. Right now, by the grace of God, the hard work of our detectives, our technology, and our citizens in our community, we're closing over 50%. And we hovered around that same number last year. And that's just the investment that the city has made, the work ethic, the drive of the detectives, the training, the technology, but most importantly, it's the relationship that we have in our community. Our fast response from our patrol officers, individuals who are willing to come forward and share information. The city is down in total crime for the year. We're down about 15% from where we were last year overall. That means everything included. Our homicides, regrettably, we did have a homicide last Friday. Individual succumbed to her injuries at the hospital. That puts us at 8 this year, and at this time last year we also had 8. So we are even with where we were last year. Of those 8, 5 of those homicide cases have also been cleared by arrest. So percentages also, those clearance rates are important to me. If we're having those incidents, I want to make sure that we're solving them and clearing them, and I also we're trying to collectively, right, multiple partnerships that we have, our citizens, our communities, faith leaders, youth, police department, fire department, Commonwealth, we're trying to prevent those incidents. And that's a little bit about what I'm going to talk about today. So I just wanted to share with you where we were on violent crime, where we were on crime overall, and then the mayor and I talk a lot about gun violence and where we're at this year so far compared to last year and the last several years. I just do that as a scope to kind of see how we're gauging, right? So a couple things that happened last week. Last week was Police Memorial Week. The 15th of May, John F. Kennedy set aside for Police Memorial Day, and that week where the 15th falls is Police Week. You saw departments across the 7 cities, across the state, and really our country, that recognized and remembered and celebrated the life of those who gave their life in this profession, those that succumbed to, lost their life in the service of law enforcement. We highlighted the officers here last Monday. Virginia Beach kicked us off the Thursday prior, but last Monday we had our ceremony. We had it at Calvary Chapel. Had a nice turnout of individuals. Both recruit classes at the time were in attendance. And we just had remarks from a high school student that spoke great. And then we just remembered, and we had some family members of loved ones that had lost their life. Officer Cook, who I'll tell you what, it was just, I had to get, his daughter was there, and she comes to every ceremony, and I got to sit down with her, and I will tell you, at the end of the ceremony, she told me, she said, "Chief, I was the little girl who sat on his lap every day he came home until the day he didn't." And it means so much to me to come to these ceremonies. So I got to spend some time with her and Katie Thine's mother, who I thought was, man, she surprised me. I didn't know they were making the trip up from Florida. And I got to spend some time with them, talk a little bit, and just remember their loved ones and what they meant to this department. We sent our honor guard up to the nation's capital, where they actually, for a select time frame, they got to stand guard at the monument in Washington, D.C. And if you haven't been there, I would strongly recommend you go. Just see the names of law enforcement officers who paid the ultimate sacrifice in serving other people, and that matters to me. Individuals that are willing to do that in this profession, that matters. It matters to me. So I was very honored that they were asked and were able to take part in that. Um, so before what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit some of these questions that come through. Um, I want to share with you. We had our police recruit graduation. I want to touch base on that as well. But I want to hit some of the questions that come in. You may hear me say, Matt, hey, can you scroll back down or scroll back up? Sometimes questions come in on the Facebook page. It jumps and bumps the screen. So I want to make sure I get. I'll do my best to get to every question, and then I'll go back and touch base on last week about our graduation. Uh, Hey, Chief, I wanted to say that those info sessions provided great detailed transparency for the people. Thank you. Hey, my friend, that means a lot. I think sometimes people just get concerned a little bit and are unsure. New technology. I remember in law enforcement, in our profession, when we went to body worn cameras, and officers were like, wait, what is that? It's going to record what we say, and it was something new, right? So I totally get that. And I understand about perception, thoughts, concerns. I get that as well. And I just want to be very open and transparent. So I appreciate that, my friend. That means a lot. And so, thank you for allowing us to do that. So we talked about our memorial service was Monday. And then in the same week, which was a lot of hustling and bustling around, a lot on our academy, a lot on our PIO office here, we also had a recruit graduation. 14 new officers graduated the Newport News Police Training Academy and are now in field training. This is their first week on the street, and they're working with officers, experienced officers that are field training them in a core list of items that they need to cover over the next 12 to 16 weeks before we sign off and that they're on their own on patrolling this great city. The streets are here in Newport News. It was a great graduation ceremony. We were at Manna Church. The pastor opened us up and closed us out. The mayor joined us. Several city officials were there, elected officials, and that means a lot, right? And I talked to the recruits about one of the things that I believe really highlights our city, not comparing us to anyone else, just highlights our city, is the relationship we have with our community, the relationship we have with our elected officials, our management, city management, our partnerships with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, the fire department, Newport News Public Schools. In our graduation, if you didn't know, every memorial service, every award ceremony, every promotion ceremony, and every graduation, we have a guest speaker. And that guest speaker is always a teenager, a high school student. And I'm just trying to send a message to the youth of this city that they matter to me, but I also want men and women who wear this badge and these patches to know that the youth matter to me. And it's very, very important. So I just share that with you. Sandy, thank you for being here. I appreciate that. It means a lot. It was just a really good ceremony. I got to stay after a little bit, talk to a lot of family members, community members. A lot of people come out to our graduations, and I think that's important. I think officers need to know they're supported. I know that we don't always get it right, that we make mistakes. But I think in being open and honest and transparent, that people can accept that. Now, they expect us to improve and do better, as do I, as do all of us. But we're all human. Right, these patches are just cloth. This badge, it's tin, right? But I believe how we act and portray ourselves, and when we make mistakes, to own that, acknowledge that, it allows us all to move forward. So I really appreciate this community that came forward and attended the graduation. I appreciate the training academy, the staff there that did a great job of taking these 14 individuals, very diverse. And I don't just mean in skin color, I mean background and culture and life experiences, and bringing them together and having them graduate. They passed their tests last week. We got to meet their parents last week, field questions from them, and then to see them graduate on Friday. Graduations are very, very special to me. People starting this profession out, this career, in the next generation of law enforcement officers. And right behind them is a class that will graduate in September, and we start the new class in June. So I'm very excited. The city's been very good to us. That'll put us right around 500 officers in our city, and that is a good number for us to have for the calls for service we respond to, the things that we want to do to solve cases, and the community outreach that I think is so important in policing today. So I just wanted to share that with you. So let's see. Memorial service we hit on graduation. Cognizant to what goes on around the country, what goes on around our region. This morning I spoke with our mayor. We talked a little bit about what happened in San Diego the shooting there, the mass shooting at the the mosque, the Islamic center there in San Diego. So what happens then? There's nothing pointing that there's anything tied to Virginia at all. But what we do here, as I think most departments, right, is we reach out to our state police fusion center. So all of the departments or sheriff's offices send information to the fusion center, state police, and then they send it out to the locally to all the different agencies here in Virginia. So I want to check on them to see if they had anything that, are there any threats, is there any heightened awareness, is there anything that we need to be aware of, looking for, watching out for. But we also reached out to our federal partners. We have an officer on every federal agency, FBI, DEA, the ATF, and I want to know from them, Homeland Security, I want to know from them, is there anything that they're seeing or hearing that we need to be aware of? I did reach out to 2 local leaders here in our region just to let them know that we had done that, that there's nothing, and the results came back that nothing is pointing to anything, Virginia, no active threats. We're still going to stay very vigilant, but I think it's important that we look into those things just to make sure to be on doing as much as we can proactively. But I did reach out to two local leaders here to let them know that I had done that, that I had talked with the mayor, and just to reassure them, and I think that's important. And it also helps, I think, open lines again, transparency and open lines of communication. So it meant a lot to me to have those conversations, and I thank them both for their response and their concerns that they shared with me as well. So I greatly appreciate that. I started my day this morning. So the Newport News Police Department has multiple citizens academies a year. We have the 2 or 3 adult citizen police academies. Then we have a senior citizens police academy that's going on today. It has one or two more weeks. They're meeting at Denby Community Center. And we also have a Hispanic Citizens Academy. And then we do several Citizens Academy for the youth. And then there's an alumni Citizens CPAAA, a Citizens Alumni Academy that also meets in the evening this week. I started my day out at Denby Community Center talking to the Senior Citizens Academy, and what I did with them is what I've done, and others have done the last 4 or 5 weeks, is talk about drones as a first responder, what that program is, what it looks like, and how it will be used in our city. So I will share with you information that we put out. All those different entities and academies that we just talked about have been talked to. I'm going to do the CPAAA Academy this week. Lieutenant Sinclair, Sergeant Thweet, Captain Cupp, and others have done numerous neighborhood watch organizations. We've also we had a business meeting here of about 40 or 50 different businesses. Several council members attended. Our Commonwealth Attorney attended, and we shared with them what we're doing is trying to take 15 or 20 minutes and just share about drones as a first responder, what it is. I'm also meeting with Ms. Brooks, Jennifer Brooks, in the NAACP to share with them about our drone program and how it will be used here in our city, why we're doing it. I think that's important, and to answer questions. But this business watch group, they seemed very, very receptive and excited about the program. I did a community meeting with Councilman Ely, where he allowed me to speak a little bit. I was in between there and food, so but it was a really nice event. It was sold out. It was packed house at down in Gross Community Center, and I got to spend 15-20 minutes just talking about drone as a first responder, what that actually does and means, how it will be used here, and how we'll manage that, the guidelines that guide us, and how we will do our audits to make sure that we're doing it by the book, and what we're going to show the community. And I will tell you, the meetings that I've been in, the meetings that I've, what's the right word, Matt? The meetings that I have talked about drones as a first responder and others have been overwhelmingly positive. There has been questions, and I get the occasional phone call or email about concerns, but and that's fine. I totally understand that. I would expect that, and those concerns help me deliver, or help us deliver a better message, making sure we hit on this point or that point to ease concerns. I will tell you, I am not interested in a surveillance program. I am not interested in a Big Brother program. What I am interested in tremendously is keeping our community safe, keeping our citizens safe, um, protecting our infrastructure, and keeping officers safe who are responding to calls. I'm going to take a look here at the screen, get caught up on some questions, then I'm going to talk further about drones as a first responder and where we're at and what we're doing here in our city. I got Angie, wonderful Angie. Thank you for that. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, there's a lot to that one. Okay, hush my yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's okay. So what we're going to do in Newport News is we are going to use drones as a first responder. Is just that to respond first to high priority calls that are associated with violence on the police side, and calls for safety and security on the fire side. So let's talk about what kind of calls those are. Let's do the fire department first, right? So if there is someone in an area that we can't get to right away by maybe up on an embankment in the water, a drone is a first responder. The drone will launch. It can get there in about a minute and a half, where it takes us about average about 5 minutes to get to a high priority call. A drone can get there in about a minute to minute and a half, 96 seconds, I think was the last data that I saw. We will do citywide. That does not mean that drones are flying in the air all the time. What it means is something will happen and a drone will launch if it meets the criteria for what we're responding to, if that makes sense. So you're not just going to look up and see drones flying all through there. That's not going to happen. Incident happens, somebody dials 911, tells us what the situation is. If it meets the criteria, a drone will launch and go to that scene. The drone will fly with the camera pointed forward towards the terrain and will not drop the camera down until it gets on the scene. Now, before I go any further, I should say that we use drones today. We've gone from advanced, I guess I should say, from taking them out of the back of a truck to an officer launching a drone up and flying it over certain situations, to now we have our own drone unit that responds with our SWAT team and negotiators on calls, or provides safety, structure fires, and can also search for missing persons. So we'll touch base on that in just a minute. Miss Banks, thank you. I appreciate that. Sean, great work, Chief. Keep doing great. Sean, thank you for that. It means a lot, my friend. It really does. I appreciate you, sir. So on the fire type calls, if someone's on an embankment, someone's in the water, an area that we can't get to right away, it allows us to assess in the fire department, the paramedics, what is the need and what's the best way to get there, or what assets. I think Chief Rogers laid it out to me as what assets do we need to bring to a situation. If there's a structure fire, what side is the fire on? Where's the best place to approach? Do we approach from the back, the front? Is the fire on the roof? What is the best angle we can see for the response? Or what type of apparatus? How much manpower do we need to respond to this particular fire or structure fire or structure issue that may be occurring? Is there, as the drone hovers, is there someone in need that we didn't see from maybe an abandoned building and they're up on the third floor, or whatever it might be? On the police side, so the fire department, paramedics is all about it's someone's in need, there's a danger in responding. On the police side, it's going to be strict calls that are violent in nature, that the quicker we get there, the safer it is for citizens and officers. So what are those calls? A homicide that's occurred, a shooting that's occurred, a non-fatal shooting, a rape in progress, a robbery in progress, or violent incidents. And people say, well, what do you mean violent incidents? So without naming the city, we've seen some of these car roundups, if you will, where cars will take over an intersection or a parking lot. The news I saw this morning was that individuals had gathered and threw gasoline on asphalt or concrete and had a flamethrower or torch of some sort and lit that, and then we're throwing fireworks in, and the communities were calling. Instead of having an officer just get that call and drive into that and be confronted with that large crowd in the items that they have there, that would be something where we would authorize a drone to fly to wait a minute, we need to send 5 or 6 officers here. They need to go in together, not all in at different angles, so everyone stays safe. Those are the things I'm talking about. We have 4 locations. Our city is linear, so we have 4 locations in the city. So we will be able to respond citywide if a call comes in matching that criteria. Now we have strict guidelines. We have strict audit trails. And here's the neat thing about the Drone as a First Responder program that we have. Within 24 hours following the incident, citizens anywhere in our city can log on to our website and look at the flight pattern and the time frame, the type of call, how the drone flew, and when it returned back. Once the drone is there, and once officers get there, once firemen get there, and unless the drone is still needed, it'll return back and dock. It's just about getting there quicker, letting us know a little bit more about what we have. Officers will be able to see that footage on their phone. Dispatchers, our real-time crime center, will be able to dispatch, hey, this is the situation in the backyard of that residence, or in the front yard of this business, or in the street. But I talked a little bit about us using drones already. If we have, God forbid, a traffic fatality in our city, we will put a drone in the air. It gets a better picture when we go to court, showing the jury and the judge and the prosecuting attorney and the defense attorney. Here's an aerial view of what the traffic scene or the crash scene looked like. We use drones now for missing persons, areas that it would take a long time to walk through, that we can fly an embankment or over shrubbery or greenery, and into areas that it's hard for people to get into, and we can get there much quicker if we have a child that's lost, someone who may have Alzheimer's, dementia, memory issues, that they're outside in cold weather, someone that might have missing, they're not taking their medication, and they might be in a particular area that it's hard to get vehicles in, or we have to get out of vehicles and walk or put a boat in the water. Think of the time frame that takes as opposed to getting there in a minute and a half. That's all about safety. On our tactical situations, as law enforcement continues to evolve, the days of just running through a door are long past. Now it's encircling the house and asking individuals to come outside, and sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. And in years past, you might see gas thrown into a residence, or a door forced open and a dog sent into a residence to see if someone's inside. Today we have the ability of even small hand drones that we can fly into a residence and look around to see if there's anyone in there that's injured, if there's anyone in there that's a hostage, or someone is there who's barricaded. And maybe they're not coming out because they're passed out, maybe they're not coming out because they're scared, they have a firearm, whatever it might be, and they may hit that drone out of the air and break it. But I would rather them break that technology than hurt a canine, or hurt a civilian, or hurt an officer. So it's all about being prepared. What do we know? That is how we're using drones today. The Drone as a First Responder is the next evolution in that program. I think we will get to the point where if someone is in need of an EpiPen, or some type of maybe a floating device, or some type of medication, that we're able to get it to them. I think it is a tremendous benefit for our city. It is not a Big Brother program. It is not a surveillance program. You're not going to see them flying all over the city. You're only going to see them on calls for service that meet our criteria. Some people have asked about how long does it record. The drone is almost like the body-worn camera that an officer has. The video is recorded and will hold for 21 days, unless it is for evidentiary value, for a court purpose, or some type of suit. The court cases, like we're seeing a case going today in our city that happened years ago. I mean, we would hold that footage, just like body-worn camera footage, for that court case. We have a strict policy about what the drones can be launched for. I've kind of covered that. How it will be used, how it will be audited. We will check that weekly. We will have 2 drone pilots inside our real-time crime center. Our plan, we have several drone pilots now who have their license. There's several more that we'll be adding, and we're bringing in actually a professor from a college here in Virginia that teaches that, and teaches them how to prepare for their test, because they all have to be certified FFA guidelines about being a pilot. You have to have their certificate. But we'll always have to. We're going to start the program primarily on an evening shift basis. This summer, we're shooting for mid-June, but it may take a week or two longer, and that's okay. We're not going to rush it just to say we have it. We want it to be very, very productive and very, very safety oriented for our community. I've had long conversations with our city management, our mayor, Chief Rogers in the fire department, and I think really getting out and sharing this information with community. I hope that we have a good relationship, but I think our community would expect us to do this, and I think that's important. Was talking to Lieutenant Sinclair. I had to make sure I got the code. There is a Virginia code that talks about, that regulates the use of drones. It is Virginia Code 19.2-60.1. 19.2-60.1. We've also had conversations and some demonstrations to our Commonwealth Attorney. Ms. Jones wants to make sure that her office and that she is that they're ready to deal with cases that that the drone might lead into court. Again, primarily, I think it's going to be a response tool for us. It will get us to scenes quicker, but just like you see 48 hours, every minute and second matters. The sooner you get to a scene, as opposed to going to a violent crime and we're driving there, and the individual who committed that crime may have been walking away, in the 3, 4, 5 minutes it takes us to get there in a patrol car, and then we start talking to witnesses. We may have 7, 8, 10 minutes before we put out write the all points bulletin or the BOLO or the be on the lookout. But when an individual calls that in, that drone will launch and can be in that area in a minute and a half. Suppose the individual walking away and we drive right past them to get to the victim or the witnesses, that may be the individual we need to stop and hold on to determine exactly what happened at this scene. And that is very, very valuable. It matters to our communities, our citizens, victims, and not to mention, again, on the fire side of a structure or an individual, responding to them, getting the right assets there, time matters, right? So that's sort of how we will use the program. Again, we'll have 4 locations, so we can cover all areas of our city. My hat's off to the fire chief. We added that 4th location. We were only going to have 3, but that 4th location was so we could cover the embankment and a lot of the area surrounds us on the south by water. If we have someone that's in danger in the river, a vessel issue, a boat on fire, someone has a medical emergency on the water, that we can get to them with a drone much, much quicker before we drive down, get in the boat, put the boat in the water, and get out to them. We'll know what they need and what the assessment is, and I think that's very, very valuable. Our citizens matter, and this technology, this investment is all about improving the quality of life and service to our citizens in those type of calls. Let me get caught up just a minute, Matt. Okay, we're good. So we when I talk about conversations we've had, we shared with City Council. We have again, I still have a meeting set with the NAACP, where no one's rushing anything out the door. I want to make sure that our community, all of us want to make sure that the community understands what we're doing and what we're trying to do. I've had some questions have asked, do your drones have red and blue lights on them? They don't have that. Will we be able to see the drones? I don't know. We're going to fly, between 200 and 400 feet, maybe. You have to be looking for it. They're not hovering at the ground level. And can they hear conversations? No, they can't hear. They don't hear anything about conversations, anything like that at all. It is a visual sight that individuals from our real-time crime center will see and be able to give additional information to firemen and police officers and paramedics who are responding to those scenes. And again, we will not be sending them on someone stole a candy bar. We're not sending them for that. There's a broken down car. We're not sending them for that. It'll be calls that are high priority calls. Shared with you, homicides, homicides, non-fatal shootings, traffic fatalities, structure fires, individuals that are injured, maybe large groups or fights. We're not using them on traffic stops. We will use them if there's a rape in progress or a robbery in progress, or if someone has a firearm and is pointing or shooting a firearm, how do we get there quicker? We talked about we've used drones. We currently use drones today. Do have a drone unit. I think it's been very, very effective. Um, we in an incident. So like we're going to talk about the Noodle convention that'll be here this weekend. But whether it's Juneteenth, 4th of July, Noodle convention, the marathon, the big concert we had at City Center, where large crowds are, we want to make sure that citizens are safe. And some of our concerts are out in areas that aren't traditional, right? It's not like an amphitheater or something like Norfolk and the Scope, right? They're out in the community. So there's different entrance and exits, ingress and egress points. We want to make sure that those individuals there that they're safe. So we're putting drones up now, and we don't stand in the middle of the crowd and put a drone in the air. We're 2 or 3 blocks away. You may never even see who's launching that drone. It will fly, and then it'll just monitor the crowd in those situations for safety. We've seen way too often things that have happened across the country where large crowds, where individuals have been hurt. Violence occurs, whether it's in Las Vegas, Nevada, or New Orleans at large events. We want to do everything we can here in our city to keep our community safe. So it's not something that's just thrown together. There's strong policy regulating. We're being guided under the Virginia Code section, working with our Commonwealth Attorney. I've made the promise to her that we're not going to go live until she is ready and comfortable. My credit hat off to her. She came and looked at the Real-Time Crime Center. She's seen a couple presentations. She's had us in her office, and actually she had a lot of questions about the program, a lot that we're talking about. Matter of fact, some of the questions she asked we're using in presentations that we had further and that we talk about today. Where's the lens? How long does it record? What scenarios will the drone be launched on? So my point in spending a little bit of time there today is just using this platform to be very, very open and honest and transparent about our drone program. We're going to pilot the program this summer, hopefully around mid-June. Matter of fact, later today, I will be in a meeting where we're selecting and making some movement, and we need to have a strong conversation about the drone pilots who we start off with. Those that are experienced, who can work in our real-time crime center. We'll always at least have 2. I think that's important. But I am excited. Chula Vista, California, is an area that we looked at and actually went there to see their program. We have been using drones here in the city already. I think we've been pretty open and transparent. We do a drone camp in the summertime for youth, so you get a full 3 or 4 days of what I'm talking about here, probably in a much better laid out, much better than I have been able to do. And then at the end of that camp, if you will, we give each of the students a drone, right? But we're sharing with them. I talked about the different groups when I mentioned that drone camp. One of the groups I wanted to talk to are teenagers. So about 2 weeks ago, I met with probably about 30, 35, 40 teenagers. It was our young adult police commissioners, and we talked about the drone program here as a first responder, what we've talked about today, how it would be used. And they seem to understand and have some really good questions about technology. I think they're a little more used to it than someone like me, who I'm not used to seeing something like that when I was growing up. But they had good questions. We had good conversations. And again, reiterating to them that it is primarily something occurs, we're responding quicker and are better prepared in that response. Getting there for safety, getting there to reduce violence, to curb violence, to hold individuals accountable who may have committed violence, to making sure that our officers are safe as well, and our firemen are safe as well, and the paramedics have the right manpower, the right equipment at a scene. All that laid out, I think, makes our city better. It makes our city safer and our departments better, more efficient, more proficient in what we're doing and trying to do. So we're going to do a good 4 to 6 month evaluation before we expand any further. When I say expanding, doing more times. That evening shift is really going to be the time we kind of looked at that we're going to kind of kick it off. Is it getting there in time? Is it being beneficial? I want to make sure that our investment, and we're not just throwing it together, and it's going to be done right. And I want to make sure of that. And one of that big pieces to the mayor and city manager Alan Archer and others is that we make sure that we're sharing it with our community. And I feel exactly the same way, that it's important to take time to hold these meetings, to have conversations, maybe a chat with a chief session. I think that's helpful. And then to field questions. And I expect that. Did I lose one, Matt? Brian, give me a second. Forgive me for my throat. Let me catch up here. Hello, Chief. I'd like to know if the police department is going to step up and start monitoring the shopping centers with people parking in the fire lane, in front of the stores, getting out of their cars, going into the grocery stores and smoke shops, or the little ATM bank buildings, not just leaving their cars parked in the fire lane, and also monitoring people parking in the handicap areas without proper identification on the windshield or on the license plate. Well, Brian, you say step up. I will tell you, we want to do the best we can with that, and I'll tell you, man, I get it too. When individuals are parking in that fire lane, I was walking out of a store the other day, and man, I was waiting for the car to move, and it just kind of, and I was like, man, there's nobody even in the car. It was Sunday after a church service, and I had stopped at the grocery store, and so I get it. I see it. It's frustrating. Parking in handicap spots, blocking exit ramps. I totally get that. I will tell you this: a lot of times it's we're hitting those calls for service. We're trying to be in areas where we're seeing incidents occur and make sure that those are decreasing. So a lot of times we'll respond to calls like that of lower priority. And when I say lower priority, I'm not saying that they don't matter. I'm just saying lower priority that someone getting hurt. When someone calls, right? If someone from the store or someone in that parking lot or someone in that grocery store X or business Y calling, say we have someone parked in that fire lane, or if we see it. I will share with you, I was just talking to the chiefs, and I'm meeting with them later today, the assistant chiefs. We're getting ready to be out of school, right? School graduation is right around the corner. And we talked about this year, because our staffing is better this summer than it was last year. Now, I know we still have some summer schools, don't get me wrong, and we have some summer programs, but we talked about using some of our school resource officers in situations just like you highlighted, doing traffic enforcement in some of our major corridors, which are right, Jefferson Avenue and Warwick. We've done that in years past, but we have some extra this year that this is something that we could focus on. I don't believe we get a lot of calls for service for those type complaints, but I do understand how frustrating it can be. I really do. I get that. My mother, unfortunately, uses the handicap sticker now in parking in Ohio, and she has some trouble walking. So I'm very, very cognizant of that. So I appreciate you bringing that up. But it is something that we can look at, especially when we get some extra resources that we're just going to try to focus on traffic. I think that's going to be the conversation today, with the 5 or 6 extra school resource officers that we have to focus in our business districts and in our speeding corridors. So I appreciate you bringing that up, and I do I'm sorry, I do understand what you're saying. Is it Rodriguez? Am I reading that right? I want an opportunity to be a police officer here in the United States. I'm a security guard in Brazil, and a bachelor's degree in public and private security management and bachelor. So I will tell you, Rodriguez, what I would do is, if you're here in the States, man, if you're here in Virginia, to look us up. Other jurisdictions are different. What our requirements are, but if you're here in Virginia and you're interested in Newport News, man, reach out to me, reach out to the department, and we'll have some good conversation. I'm open. I will tell you, we have a new academy starting in June, and we were set with 18. I was really hoping we'd get 20 in this class. We were set with 18, and man, we had an individual that had gotten out of the military and wants to be a police officer, and he reached out to us, and we sat down with him. Seems like a really good kid, and it's a rush, right? Sometimes it takes us a while to do the background investigations, but we've got a couple different people helping us with this because I want to get this young man into our academy. I think he is going to be a great officer, or has the potential. Um, so yeah, if something you'd like to do, man, if you're willing to come in and sit down with me and we'll have a conversation, that would be great. Or you can hook it right up with one of the recruiters, and see what we can do. Okay, yeah, sounds like you have a lot of passion to do this job, so that would be great. And it looks like did you post that, Matt? Okay, great. Perfect. Um, I hope I mentioned that we do have our next class starting in June for the next police department academy, and then we'll probably do July, September. We may do one more in September, October. It depends on where we're going to be at with officers. We've had some officers come in from other jurisdictions. We've had some officers who had left the department that are coming back. Matter of fact, I think we had some get sworn in to these two, maybe today, that'll be starting. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm thankful for men and women who join this profession anywhere in the country, but also mostly here in Newport News, right? Men and women who are willing to leave their families and serve other people, see things that I wish they didn't have to see. Respond to things I wish they didn't have to respond to, that are human just like everyone else. It hurts to see a teenager not walk away from a car accident when many officers have teenagers. Brothers and sisters that are teenagers. It's hard to see some of the things, but individuals that are willing to do that and then come back the next day to work, man, they matter to me. They matter to me. The chief of police can sit and pull up a body-worn camera footage and review it. I can slow it down. I can blow it up. I can move it in segments. I can take a break and come back and look at it later. I can link it to where it just prints out verbiage of what individuals are saying. An officer has seconds to make a decision. And again, I'm not, look, we don't always get it right, but I can tell you the intent there is to. What we train is to. The citizens that we have on our use of force review board is to help us get better. The citizens that are involved in our promotional processes, whether it's a pastor or Miss Brooks from the NAACP, Dr. Lyons, folks from Department of Criminal Justice Services, Mike Coker, individuals that work at Enterprise, individuals that are in the faith community, school teachers, retired individuals from the shipyard. I think citizens ask different questions about promotions and what they're looking for in leadership, and that matters to me. The citizens that attend our Citizens Academy, our Senior Academy, our Hispanic Academy, our Youth Academy, the youth programs that we'll put on this summer, all of that matters to me, and I think that's incorporates us hand in hand, right? We're woven in together with this community. We're part of the community. That's why I'm going to attend every graduation, and there will be other officers that do as well. Not on a stage in cap and gown, not speaking, just sitting in the bleachers at the convention center, seeing our 6 high schools graduate. That matters to me, to see the young people. I want them to know that they matter, that I'm supportive of them, that we're supportive. That's our future, in building those relationships. I'll tell you. I want to tell you a story about the young adult police commissioners. These are our high school kids, and a round table we had with the recruit class that's getting ready to graduate. I want to tell you some conversation. Let me just catch up for a minute. Sorry, I'm late, Alessandro. That's okay. Yeah, I'll be back at 6. That's okay. I'm going to be on here for a few more minutes, and then I'm going down to talk about an event. So last 2 things I want to talk about is this roundtable with high school students and our recruits. And if anybody has a question about the drone program, please send it to me. Let me know. And I'll be back at 6 o'clock. I want to spend about another 20-30 minutes this evening kind of going over it as well. But I'll tell you, we brought in about 30 high school kids, young adults, and the police recruits who are getting ready to graduate. And we sit them in a room. We don't sit them side to side across from each other. We intermingle them, right? And we have this conversation. And these are kids from every high school in our city, freshmen, sophomore, junior, and seniors. And we talk about, why did you join the Young Adult Police Commissioners? What is your opinion of policing today, or community policing? And we asked the recruits, why did you want to get into law enforcement? Why did you want to get into law enforcement here in Newport News? So about the 45-minute mark, the questions asked to the high school students, what do you want to see from these new officers that are going to graduate and patrol your neighborhood? And you may have heard me say this before, But the high school students say, if we wave to you, wave at us. Stop and talk to us. Don't judge us by some interaction you've had with another student. Don't judge us by our race or gender or skin color. Don't judge us by rumors and things you've heard from other officers. Look at us as individuals. And that's powerful. I can say that in a training academy room. They're hearing it from high school students sitting beside them and across from them. And then I ask the recruits, what do you look for young people in society today? And get this. They say to them, if we wave to you, say hello. Stop and talk to us. Don't judge us by some interaction you've had with another officer or something you've seen in law enforcement in another part of the country. Give us the opportunity of who we are. Not by our race, not by our uniform, but who we are. That's powerful. These high school students will skip school. I got to call the superintendent and let them, hey, that so-and-so, please excuse them. They're coming to watch police officers graduate. And I'll go to events at a school where there's a school play, a basketball game, certainly the football games here, and I'll see officers at the football games, at the baseball or basketball games, volleyball games, school events, plays, right, choruses, and they're watching high school students that they met. That's building relationships. And I think that is so important. I think that's one of the things that really highlights our city. But I just share that. Maybe I was on a soapbox. That's one of the programs I'm the most proud of because it goes a long way. A friend of mine, Samaya, she's going to graduate this year, and she's very special to me. She's had a lot of challenges in life. She's an amazing young lady. Her future, man, it's bright. But she she poured out her heart at that meeting, and man, that was powerful. It was it was just impactful. And she asked me, she said, Chief, I'd like to get an escort to graduation, to my prom. I'm sorry, her prom. And let's just say this: we may or may not have made that happen. And the smile on her face, man, that was just amazing. It was phenomenal. Last thing I want to touch base on, we got an event this weekend, right? Friday and Saturday, the Noodle event and convention, festival, if you will. There's going to be some speeches and interaction, panels, concerts, music, food, just a really great venue. Later today, I'm going to go down with others, my counterpart, Chief Rogers, in the fire department, the city staff. We're going to walk the event. We're going to brief it one more time. We actually have because it's going to be a large event, a 2-day event, we're having a tabletop exercise in the academy on Thursday with the fire department and others about if this happens, if that happens. It's just all about preparedness. What would we do? How would we respond? From communication side, from the tactical side, from traffic flow to emergency medical situations. Just helps us prepare. So I'm excited. So I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap our session up here. I will say that we also, another academy we have starting up is our Telecommunicators Academy. Like, what is that, Chief? That's our 911, our dispatchers, right? I get to meet with them this week. I'm excited for those individuals that have started. That is a hard profession. They are truly first responders and should be, in my opinion, marked as such. The work that they do, they don't get to see what's going on, they get to hear it. Now, I will say they get to see a little bit more today than they did 20 years ago because of cameras and technology. But they're phenomenal people. They've delivered babies. They've helped individuals that are lost. They've calmed kids that are home by themselves and something's happened. They're just phenomenal. And people who are willing to do that profession, I'm thankful for them. Laura and Val just do a great job. I'm going to meet some of those new trainees this week and just encourage them. We talked about the memorial and our new class, our new academy class starts in the first week of June. Later today, we're going to make some selections for promotions and place people that are going to be in place June 1. So it's an exciting time. I appreciate all the support from our elected officials and city staff, Bo, Sabrina, Alan, all that you do for this department, Fire Department, Commonwealth Attorney's Office, Police Foundation that helps fund a lot of the programs that we have, especially those where you interact with youth. But I'm excited. There's a lot of good stuff going on. I know the summer is going to it gets very, very busy, but that's all right. It still hasn't. I was at a couple events this weekend. The CSB had a wellness fair at Midtown Community Center. I got to go see President Kelly and some graduates at CNU. A friend of mine, her granddaughter graduated, so I got to see her, and a big smile on her face. I don't know who was smiling more, Matt, Grandma or the graduate. We'll leave it at that, right? She may work in this office. She may work in the PIO's office. But that was really special. I also got invited to a birthday party. A young lady turned 99, her 99th birthday. She has a phenomenal, I'm going to say this right, she crochets, and she makes blankets and quilts and hats, gloves, scarves that she donates to the police department that we give out to people. That was very, really special. I really enjoyed that. And I got to drive by and I saw some t-ball and some pee-wee baseball, if you will, at Deer Park. My intent, man, just sometimes just cool to watch. That's my favorite sport, and just to pull over and get out of the car and just watch. It's just special. So there's some good things, a lot of good things going on in our community. Noodle Convention this weekend. Hope you're able to come out and enjoy that. Graduation, high school graduation, just around the corner. And remember, as it closes out here, as we get into the summer months, more kids are going to be outside. Please be careful of driving. Watch for young people on the road. Running around. School, like I said, school's almost over. So I just want to make sure we have a safe summer. I appreciate you taking the time to spend with me today. We'll do this again at 6 o'clock. And I also want to thank the officers, the men and women who do this job day in and day out. Those that have graduated the academy recently, those that have been doing this job for years, those that are retired, retirees that come back and work with us, our recruiting division, our forensics division, property and evidence, our detectives work through the night, get woke up in the middle of the night and come out, officers who are patrolling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, support staff that help us out. This is a great place to be. I'm humbled to work here. I'm thankful, and I'm thankful for this community. Just wanted to be a little transparent today about our drone as a first responder. We'll talk more about it this evening, and we're going to be prepared for our weekend. It's going to be busy, but it's going to be a great weekend. So God bless you all. We'll do this again 6 o'clock tonight, Matt. Is that right? And I appreciate your time today. God bless you guys.